Okay, time for my last top 10 releases from 2020. This time we're focusing on Arrow releases. A couple of the movies on here are just solely on there because the movies are just so good. When we get up to the topper end of the chart of my top 10, you'll find some amazing releases. So let's start at number 10. One of my favourite releases I saw at Fright Fest, it was Harpoon. And it's a very simple premise, but it's done exceedingly well. You've got three people abandoned on a boat, the engine's not working, they're stuck out at sea, they do not have the provisions to last. Let everything ensue. It's a psychological twisting movie with three brilliant performances at the heart of it. They just keep this driving forward. Even when you've seen the movie, you know the revelations that come out of it. It's still super interesting to watch and to see the constant conversations that these people have, the way they constantly reinterpreting them as they go through the story. It's incredibly impactful, funny, suspenseful, and just downright entertaining, and you never really hear many people talking about it. There's a full review on my channel if you want to hear more about this specific movie. Number 9 on my releases this year is After Midnight. Great release. It's a movie that's not for everybody. It is about a man who's struggling with a breakup. His wife or girlfriend has left him, and it's just him dealing with that. There's flashbacks to their relationship building up to the point where she left, and then the ramifications after it. But since he's delved into alcohol, there's a little bit of psychological element to this as well, because he deems that every night at midnight there is a monster of sorts trying to attack him, trying to get to the house, and he's trying to defend himself. It has a great payoff. You have to work a little bit with the movie to get there, but man, what a wonderful, wonderful payoff this movie has. It's a really kind of low budget, character driven horror movie, which is really quite interesting and fun. This release comes with The Battery as well, which is a low budget zombie movie. Two guys trying to survive when the world went to crap. It's a great movie as well. Again, it's not for everybody, but this pack of movies where they release one and they throw in the second as an addition, it's just a wonderful treat, and I really like both of these films. Number 8 on my list, purely on the movie alone, is I See You. Terrific movie. A terrific movie that I'm not going to say too much about. It's available on streaming. I suggest picking up the disc from Arrow because it's a great transfer, some good extras on there as well. It's a tale about a police detective investigating the disappearance of a little boy. And there seems to be this supernatural entity going about their house, moving things about, turning on TVs, kind of aggravating the situation. And midway through this movie, this takes the unbelievable and utterly fantastic change of pace where it recontextualizes everything that's happened before and just shakes everything up in such a wonderful way where you don't feel as if you've been lied to or as if things haven't been shown 100%. It just reinvigorates the full movie and is such a wonderful change of pace. I'm surprised I've never seen it before. I See You is a wonderful thriller. Highly recommended. Number 7 on my list is The One Missed Call Trilogy. I finally just managed to get round to watching that and I loved it, particularly the first 2 entries. Now I thought it was going to be a case of the first one was good and there'd be a large drop off. But no, the second one I think is just as good as the first. It has a familiar J-horror plot twist of some spooky demon is ringing people up and giving them a premonition of their last phone call before they die. Takeshi Miike delivers the first element, and he has a wonderful style and sense of atmosphere on amongst it that really just does create a fun movie, even though it does feel a little bit like it's just trading familiar J-horror water here. The second one changes up things enough to make it fresh and interesting. It gets a little bit bogged down in the middle and it's still really fun. The third one is interesting enough, but I feel as if they've just went a little bit too far with that. But again, they change up the rules, so to speak, and it kind of makes it fresh again and adds a whole new spin to it. But the three films here are wonderfully presented. It's a really cheap package for what you're getting, and these are great movies that I really am glad I got to check out. Number 6 on my list, and I was tempted to put this higher, but there was other movies that I just loved more, and that was The Woman. Lucky McKee's wonderful second instalment of a strange trilogy. This one again comes with Offspring, the first movie. I love The Woman. I think it is downright unbelievably fantastic, terrific. The performances are utterly mesmeric, and the story is just twisted and gnarly, and I think it's an amazing movie. I just wasn't prepared for the ferocious nature of the first movie. Starts off a little bit ropey, a little bit low budget, and it shows, and then just boom, it goes straight into genre cannibalism, and it's just wonderful for it. And I don't know which movie I like best, but they're both extremely different, and they're both extremely wonderful movies. That this package was one of the standouts of the year for me, just simply for having both these movies, and I would strongly recommend picking this up as soon as you can. Number 5 for me, the first of two 4Ks on this list, is The King of New York, Abel Ferrara's Christopher Walken starring gangster epic. This just mind-blowing transfer on this one. The movie itself is one that doesn't seem to be talked about too much, which is a real shame, because I think it's one of Abel Ferrara's best movies. You get a wonderful performance from everybody. Everybody's great in this one, and there's lots of famous faces in this that you will recognise. The way that it doesn't seem to drag out the story. Usually you get these gangster epic tales and they're 2.5, 3 hours in length. This is 90 minutes. It's condensed. There's no fat on it. It's exciting. It's exhilarating. It has a wonderful morale behind it as well. Kind of thematics. The good guy's bad or the bad guy's good. It's just wonderfully delivered. It's a great movie with an ultimately wonderful package. The 4K is superb. Number 4 on my list is the William Grafey set. He Came from the Swamp. 7 movies and a documentary all about the man. The movies are up and down. They're not all great. They're not all terrible. I've got reviews coming for all the movies soon at some point. They're all ready to go. I loved the documentary. I loved Sting of Death. I loved Whiskey Mountain. A couple of others in there that I really liked. Some of them felt a little bit tedious. Some of them felt like they were filmed over a weekend, which Tartau definitely was, because it had to be done. But his energy, his willingness to make things work is what makes the man such an interesting character, and they really talk about that during the documentary. There's a wonderful book of essays that come with this, and just having all these movies in one collection is something that is not, I might not go back to often, but I really like the idea of having it in my collection. Number 3 is another set, and that is the Alejandro Jodorowsky set, which I thought was utterly wonderful. The 3 movies in this, which are Fando and Liz, you get El Topo, you get Holy Mountain, and then you get Psycho Magic, which is a documentary. I'm just going to talk about the 3 movies because I think they get exceptionally better. They're surreal, twisted, visual movies that are very different to a lot of things that I've seen, but I kind of liked most of them. Now, it increasingly gets better the more they go on. Fando and Liz is a really interesting and twisted tale of a couple searching for paradise, pretty much. You get El Topo's, which is a kind of 2 movies in one. You get a gunslinger element, which is just utterly wonderful. The visuals start to sing and just look utterly amazing. And then you move on to The Holy Mountain, which is an utter joy of a movie. Visually stunning. It has this kind of conceit about religion all the way through it, even breaking the fourth wall at the final scene to almost denounce movies at a certain point, and it just seems wacky, but this is a movie, or movies, that I won't go back to for the narrative. I'll go back to for the experience, just to let them wash over you and see what I gain from them in each and every watch. Wonderful movies, really very different, really fantastic. Now, number 2 on my list is the best Arrow release of the year. Not my favourite, but the best. The Gamera set. That Behemoth is just wonderful. Comics, books, essays, art cards, wonderful packaging of artwork. The movies are exemplary, probably the best definitions of them you can get. Just wonderful. The content is outstanding. It's just a packed, ridiculously amazing set. It is their best release of the year, and it's something that I picked up on a whim because I had the fear of missing out, and then slowly started to delve into it and discover amazing products. Reviews are coming soon for these as well, but I just love this set. My number 1, my personally favourite release of Arrow this year was the Tremors 4K set. I've watched it a couple of times already. It's a movie that I know inside and out, and this thing was amazing. Instantly, the transfer just blew me away within the first 30 seconds. I was mouth agasp, just going, wow, this is the best this movie has ever looked. And then you start to delve into the extras, and the extras are downright ridiculous. No movie should have this wealth of content, newly created as well as older stuff as well, talking about all the special effects, educating me on things that I never knew about this film. Tremors is a movie that I utterly love, and I feel that it got a package it really deserved. So that's my favourite top 10 Arrow releases of the year. What's yours? Let me know in the comment box below. I'll see you next time on Man v Film.